thank you for joining. This is episode 2 of the Irish Scott Productions podcast. I have with me today Scott, one of the co-owners, as well as myself, Brandon. Today we'd like to talk a little bit about one of the services that we offer, and what we call it is the love story. And we'll get into how we go about shooting the love story, what that entails, and why that is something that every one of our clients should think about for their special day. Scott, so we've done probably about 5 or 6 love stories so far?
Yeah, around there. Yeah, it's
okay.
I usually try to refer to it as our engagement session. So you think of an engagement session with a photographer, it's kind of like an engagement session for video. We ask them, questions. We shoot some B-roll of them at a park, doing like walking, holding hands, interacting with each other. I think we shot one of them last year. They were actually playing baseball and drinking beer. That one was a pretty fun one. I remember that.
Scott, let's talk a little bit, using terminology. Let's talk a little bit about what B-roll actually means in the videography realm of things.
Well, the term B-roll is actually from a film set. So you have an A, B, and C camera. The A camera usually is set to the main action, like if it was actors or whatever you have on your A set. Then there's the B-roll, usually someone with another camera offset, shooting different things. It's usually like a second storyline, but the term B-roll just usually means footage that you're going to use later to overlay cutaway shots. Usually what we do is when we're doing the interview, when we have that B-roll, that extra footage, we throw it over the transition between the groom answering the question and the bride answering the question.
So basically, in layman's terms, what we're talking about is really just getting some of that additional footage where we can cut away to as someone's talking, describing
exactly.
something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, let's talk a little bit about our process. Why is this particular thing, the love story, kind of becoming popular when we talk with our guests about it, and we actually show it at their wedding. Let's talk a little bit about the importance of that and how it sets itself apart from, let's say, showing a slideshow. So,
it's really meant to take the place of a slideshow. I like to think of it as, a slideshow's great. It shows pictures. It shows older pictures, baby pictures. Obviously, we don't have footage of that. If they do, we could possibly put it in, but we kind of shy away from it because the whole point of having the love story is to tell the couple's story, their day-to-day lives. Sure, they're probably pretty close with their family, but their family doesn't really understand their in and out life if the couples are interacting with each other. I mean, nowadays, everyone moves in with each other beforehand, before they get married. They spend time with each other. Not everybody knows the story of how they met, just certain things like that.
So basically, it's their story in the present tense versus looking back at the past.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about how we go about coming up with this particular, as far as editing, questions, things like that. So, starting off, what we do is we kind of get a sense of our client's interest. As Scott had mentioned earlier, we shot someone last year that, they were playing catch in the yard and drinking a couple beers. Something that they are very into. They both are very interested in craft microbrews, and they both really love baseball. So it was two things that they really enjoyed that we put in as what we call the B-roll to basically get the emotions out of that video.
Do you remember the one we did when we went to the range?
Yeah, definitely.
That one was cool.
Yeah, so one of our clients, he was a cop, and
sheriff's the deputy. He's
and on
actually my my next door neighbor. Kind of, it was kind of cool how that worked out. But we got to go to the private shooting range when him and his fiance at the time. I think he just purchased her a gun maybe for her birthday. It was pink, and we had it all laid out, and we shot some B-roll of the guns and the ammo and of them shooting, and it actually tied into like how their first date was. He actually took her to the range. I'm not sure if it was that particular range. I don't remember, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then we, got some drone footage, got a lot of different angles, a lot of different shots. So it was a very interesting shoot that we did. So, what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring out some emotion out of our clients' guests.
And side note, they actually just had a baby, those two. So.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Shout out to Brittany and Eric.
Nice. So, how we start this is we first get a sense of what their interests are. What can we utilize in the shooting procedures to, tie in with what they like to do? What are their hobbies? What are their interests? Maybe they have an animal that they love and they take it for walks on the nature trail, things like that. So that's the first thing. That's the first step we do to try to start the process. Then the day of the shoot, what we're going to do is we're going to probably capture some of that B-roll that we talked about, and maybe we do that for an hour or two, maybe a little bit more. Different locations, different interests, and then ultimately once we have all our footage that we want to use of those interests and hobbies and likes and whatnot, we actually sit down each couple individually. Now, they are unaware of the questions that we are going to ask. So it's a lot of times, them coming up with an answer off of their, on their feet, off the top of their head, which is nice because there's no pre-rehearsed answers. You don't get them to talk about it with each other. Yeah. And what that's going to do is
really meant to be in the moment. Really, yeah. That's what we're going for, the natural reaction. And sometimes it turns into a nice, funny reaction, which gets a great reaction at the reception when we show it.
Yeah. For example, we had a client. What was the one where we used the Jeopardy?
The same one we were talking about, the range.
Yeah,
Brittany and Eric.
Yeah. Brittany and Eric. We did a love story with them, and there was a question that I had asked. It was something to the fact of, what's the most romantic gift she has, given you, and or maybe it was he had given her, one of the two. And
it was the same question. They couldn't think of an answer. So
what was funny though is you had said, "Oh, let's just go to the next question with him," and then when we got to her, I asked the same question.
Yeah.
And you're like,
well, we let him hang on it for a little bit. I think we rolled on him for a good 2 or 3 minutes, and he's just making really great facial expressions, and he finally just kind of goes, next question, like real low. And then when we got to her, she did almost exactly the same thing. Just kind of we let her hang on it for a little bit. And when that was happening, I was like piecing it in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. And it was the entire room at the Jefferson where their reception was. I think lit up. It was hilarious.
Yeah, everybody laughed, and when I got to that question with Brittany, you kind of was like, I thought we were skipping that question, and then she started kind of just sitting there and thinking, and that's when your wheels start spinning in your head about that.
Yeah.
So it was good that we asked the question, even though we anticipated just skipping that question initially because he didn't have an answer, but we asked probably about 15 questions.
20. Yeah, 15, 20.
We'll end up pulling out, anywhere from about 7 to 10 maybe.
Yeah.
If that. Just depends on the.
Yeah, it depends on the length, because we like to keep it to around 7 to 10 minutes because you lose your audience after that. Definitely at a wedding. And for even for a slideshow too, I suggest keeping it to that length, because if you have a 20, 30 minute video that you expect your guests to watch, halfway through they're going to be talking to each other and not paying attention anymore.
Yeah, they usually say about 9 minutes. 9 minutes is when you start to lose the audience attention. And let's talk about the differences between the video and the slideshow. It's one of our selling points when we talk with our clients. What separates a video from the slideshow? Well, first and foremost, nothing to take away from slideshows that they do a great job, and we
do the slideshows as well when requested.
Yeah, we put slideshows together for our clients, and same thing with my entertainment business. We put slideshows together for our clients occasionally as well, and there's nothing against them. But what happens, from my experience anyways, and it may be different, it's different from wedding to wedding, but I would say a good a bulk of the weddings that I've done where they've had a slideshow, you get people that aren't focused. And I think one of the reasons why that might be is because, a lot of you have probably been to multiple weddings. You've seen the slideshow how many times, and it's not something new and exciting.
It usually means the most to like grandparents, parents, the couple,
very close family members.
Yeah, close family members, and the person that creates the slideshow.
Yeah, and possibly some of the wedding guests, as well as some of the bridal party, if you have a close maid or matron of honor, a best man.
Yeah.
Sometimes that, but a lot of times what will happen is some of the more distant relatives or friends that are at the wedding, they lose focus very quick, and sometimes they even start talking, and just. I've been to weddings where you hear more talking than you do the slideshow, and it's unfortunate, but
it's gonna happen though.
Yeah. What's nice about the video though is you've got multiple sensations coming off of the video, because we're tying in a story, we're tying in music, and we're tying in movement. Not that slideshow doesn't have movement, but slideshows are still pictures, where video, it's like watching TV. Would you rather watch a TV of just stills, or would you rather watch a movie? And that's, you're getting a little bit more, I think, emotion from that. So one of the ones we did, it was kind of a surprise at the end. The gentleman actually, at the last question, I think one of the last questions is something like, why do you love this person so much? And he ended up breaking down and just crying. And it was such raw emotion too. You could just see how much he loved her. And
it was really raw, definitely. But I remember that one and us kind of looking at each other going, oh, this is awkward. You know what I mean? Like
it was awkward, but it was also like, wow, this is really going to be.
It was great.
Good.
Yeah, it was good. But I had that thought of like, oh, should we start? Should we stop them? Should we start over? And then I think we kind of just looked at each other, going, as awkward as it is, I think it's going to be that much more impactful. A
lot more powerful.
Yeah.
Raw emotion is such a powerful thing, and it gets people, in the same emotion. When I did that wedding, because I also DJ'd that wedding, and when we showed that video, they had, I don't know, 250, 300 guests. I bet you 40% of the people in that audience had teary eyes, and the bride had teary eyes, and it was just, and what was great is we had, at the end of it, we had kind of said, he's like, she's probably going to know. We're like, hey, just gather yourself, wipe your tears away, try to not look like you've been crying.
Yeah, we gave him some room, definitely.
Yeah, gave him some room, and then later on he had said, when we give you the opportunity to watch it before we show it on the big screen. And he's like, nope. He's like, don't show it. I want it to be a surprise for her. And it became such an emotional impact on that evening, at the end of dinner, that, it's one of the ones I remember. And that's really one of the reasons why I remember it. I mean, it was a great party. We had a lot of good time.
Yeah.
But that particular video just stuck out so well. And actually they still, I'm friends with them.
Yes,
and
so
they
am I.
Still talk about it.
And
so
side note, they're having a baby too.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of our clients tend to have babies right after they get
right
married,
away.
So.
Yeah,
which is cool. That's cool. I'm so happy for all our past clients.
That being said, too, is like our clients just aren't our clients. Like once they're done, once we're done with their film, or you DJ or me photography, we keep in touch. We like to keep in touch. I literally had a hour-long text conversation with one of our brides from 2017 about her wedding film and how she still watches it all the time. And they didn't do the love story with us, but we did some sort of hybrid of it, like a love story and slideshow, because some of her military friends passed away and she wanted to display that. And there was a bunch of quotes I think we played, and that one was like the opposite of the one that had the Jeopardy in it. There wasn't the dry eye in the entire reception area, just like the one we were speaking of when the guy cried at the end. But that one was pretty emotional too to film.
Yeah, and going back to what you're talking about, our clients being more than just clients, I that's one of the things I actually, when I sit down with my clients on the entertainment side, I tell them straight up, I want to be like a friend. I want to be like a family member. That way when we get to know each other and that day comes, you're at ease. You don't know what a lot of times from other people I've talked to, the DJ shows up or the videographer shows up and they shoot the film or they play the music. They don't know that person.
Yeah.
And one of the things I try to do is try to get to know my clients a little bit more than, I hate to say it, a little bit more than just a paycheck. I really enjoy, and I know you enjoy doing what you do with the photography and the videography. I enjoy doing the videography and the entertainment side. There really isn't another industry that I would rather be in than what I'm doing now. Actually, I've gotten away from doing any sort of, bar gigs and things like that. I mean, I still do once in a great while, but I really enjoy the wedding industry so much.
It's really about forming relationships. The money is there, but that's not the main purpose. It's to form that relationship, and then the money will come. Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's the way this society is kind of going. Is everybody's trying to form a relationship to be able to market off of each other, and that's what I think we're doing a pretty good job at.
Right. Yeah. So what else do you want to say about the love story? That's kind of,
it's not
kind
a
of process.
Yeah, it's like an add-on package. It pairs up with all of our three packages, our lowest to highest package. We do not just do the love story. You would have to book one of our packages, and then add on the package. We've kind of strayed away from just doing the love story because, sure, it's great and it's a great thing to offer, but we're in the wedding film business, and we offer the love story as a nice add-on package, and we enjoy doing that as well. But if we started booking so many, love stories, we wouldn't be able to book wedding films,
right?
So.
And kind of going off of that too, because I know some people out there are going to probably be like, well, my venue doesn't have a screen or a projector. That is something that I have the ability to rent out. So don't let that deter you from having the love story if you're booking our videography services. However, most venues do have the opportunity to rent a projector and screen.
Yeah.
But if they don't, we also have that ability. Probably the biggest challenge with that being said is making sure that the DJ or the entertainment that our clients are choosing, if they're not choosing Irish Entertainment, is making sure that we can pipe through their audio equipment to play the audio over their speakers.
Yeah, there's some logistics issues with it. I agree with that. But, that's something that the value...
we can work through.
Yeah, the value of the video is worth the extra logistics of it. Definitely.
Exactly. So, we're definitely, looking forward to 2019. Quite a few weddings booked already. We still have availability for certain dates in 2019, and we'd definitely like to hear from you if you are interested in booking our services. So if you are interested in booking our services, I would suggest going out, checking us online at irishscottweddings.com, or you can check us out on Facebook. Just go ahead and type in Irish Scott Productions, and that will pop up our Facebook link. And either one, you can message us or send us an email and inquire about our services, and we get back to you typically within a couple hours, if not within the day at the very least. So anything left to add, Scott, to our podcast this evening?
I think we covered it all.
Okay.
Just excited about doing more of these with you and getting some more guests. I did a off-topic podcast the other night. We'll be getting a couple of those together and releasing them in a separate thread on the same Irish ISP Films podcast. But once we get more, we'll sprinkle them in as well.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to thank everyone out there for joining us tonight, and appreciate you taking a listen. And this is episode 2 of Irish Scott Productions podcast, and hopefully everybody has a great rest of their night and a great weekend coming up. So we will talk to you next time, and enjoy.